Not in chat tribe, but we are level 70. We are finally ready to finish and kind of wrap up, and any other verbs you choose to use on the Corrupted Bear build. This has been a really fun build. I'm really happy I decided to give it a go. Without further ado, I'm going to quickly go through the enchants and then the talents we decided to go with. And then the talents, I'm going to go kind of more in depth. So for anyone just interested in what I got going on to try to copy it, and you don't have to listen to any of my explanations, you can give it a go yourself. So firstly, I'm going to pull the enchants up. So we just picked up one with the forest, so this is going to allow our critical strikes in bear form to increase the duration of bark skin. So that's going to be great. We're using the heck out of bark skin. We talked about stabbed in the dark last time. So we're running that still. From the shadows is going to be increasing our physical and shadow damage abilities. Black magics is just a filler. It is increasing our shadow damage abilities, but we don't care about the arcane. So this is one I'd swap out once I found a better blue enchant. We're still rocking spiritual attunement as well, so this is another one you could easily swap out. Just picked up one stack of lightning reflexes for the increased agility. We are running holy seal of vengeance, I'm sorry, so we're going to talk about that in a minute, but we increase our threat by that. Feral Instincts is going to be increasing the damage on barrel swipe. You could definitely run more of these. I only have one for no particular reason. I just found it. So using that, and of course we're still using Bash and Thrash, and we're still using what we do in the shadows. So pretty happy with these enchants. Again, I changed out some of the blues, but that would be about it. I got a comment on a different video that I should try to organize these a little better. I made the conscious effort to try to. You're gonna see the stabs and the darks are all together, and then legendary purple. This hat I'm wearing is a green, so I couldn't swap that out, unfortunately. And then my Bash and Thrash was already on a trinket, and I couldn't find a better trinket, so I'm sorry. I'm sorry in advance, but this is probably a lot. I mean, this is more effort than I put in any of the other enchants, so I'm sure this is going to be looking a lot better. Now, to quickly go through the talents. So, again, I'm going to go through each page, and then we're going to go back and talk about them. If there's a particular question you have on why I kind of picked up something over the other. But for anyone, again, just looking to get my version of the build, you can just pause on these pages. You have it. You don't have to kind of skip around to try to find where I show each of the pages. So we'll just finish up that. Have been really liking the evasion I've grabbed. I'm glad I picked that up. That's been doing great. And nothing's really changed in the warlock tree, but we're gonna go through it all regardless. So now for anyone that's wanted to copy the build, they have all the information they need. I do want to kind of go through all of them. Now, any that we've talked about in the past, I'm going to try not to be redundant. I would not change the adaptive defense. I think this is a great talent. I could see this being in pretty much any version of the build. Armor to the teeth is nice because we're having so much armor anyway. Could you maybe get more bang in your buck with a different talent? It would definitely possible, but from what I've been able to find, this is just really effective use of those talent points. And then the Arms tree, you really can't go wrong with charge. So, I mean, you could. I think there's a feral version of this in the Druid tree, but I mean, it's not costing you any talent essence. It's very cheap ability essence wise, and you get so many ability essence. I even have one that I haven't been able to use, so it is what it is with the charge there. Then in the destruction, obviously a lot of this build will depend on Shadow Bolt and will depend on corruption itself. So that's why we kind of picked up the improved Shadow Bolt. So then our Shadow Bolt is going to be dealing even more damage. That's why we picked up the Backlash, so then we can trigger those free Shadow Bolts. The Soul Leech is to then get some healing back from those Shadow Bolts. Now, all of this has been fantastic. The improved Shadow Bolts, even before I put in the Stab in the Dark for the increased Shadow Bolt damage based off our attack power. Shadow Bolts have been doing so much. I've been doing really well DPS wise for a tank build, so just really happy with that. And obviously we had to pick up Shadow Bolt for that to work. I still stand by Demonic Aegis here. It is increasing the effectiveness of our Demon Armor, which we picked up. We picked up Demon Armor mainly because it gives us extra healing from our healing abilities. Now, one I have not tried would be Fel Armor. Fel Armor increases our spell hit chance equal to 10% on our spirit, which is not super useful because we're not really getting any spirit. In addition, the direct damage spells we have, our direct damage spells have a chance to heal for 4% of your base health. So the reason I haven't tried this, and I probably should, I'm not sure what they mean by base health, because my health right now is 11,000. Not 11,000, 11,000, I'm sorry. My health is 11,000, so if that heals for 4% of 11,000, that's pretty good. But if it's saying base, like whatever my base stamina is before items, then that is not gonna be that good. So this is one I just haven't tried out. I would definitely recommend giving it a go. It could be a lot better than the Demon Armor, but just haven't tried it. In the Affliction Tree, of course, we needed Corruption, but we also got Nightfall, so Nightfall is giving us a chance to proc even more Shadow Bolts, which is great. We kind of need Shadow Bolts. And then Siphon Life, so we get a little bit of healing with that Corruption. Now, Corruption is not doing a lot of damage. You could easily swap this out for Shadow Mastery. I mean, just increasing the damage and life drained by your shadow spells is good. It's really good. I mean, obviously we have so much shadow damage inherently, and then when we drain life through our Shadow Bolts, it then increases. I'm assuming it would also increase the amount we drain from swipe. Actually, now we're talking about it, this seems awful. Yeah, I'm gonna swap this out right now. Whoa, Shadow Mastery. And then we have 2 points, and that is 4% increased. That's great. I have no complaints about that. To the person who just clicked through to get their stuff and then left without listening to me kind of talk about any of it, aha, you've been tricked. I've given you the bad version of the build. Here's the good version with Shadow Mastery. In Rogue, we've got Evasion. I've kind of beat this dead horse many times. I actually just picked up Dispersion. I haven't been good at using it, but hypothetically, 80% reduced damage, you regenerate mana, you can move around, and it can be cast while stunned, Feared Silence, and it will clear all those effects. It's really good, so hopefully I'll remember to use it during this video, but you know, really no reason to not pick it up. In the Paladin Tree, we have Righteous Fury, and of course the accommodating talent for it to make Righteous Fury even better. Tenacity is doing great for us in terms of the additional threat we're able to generate and just the armor value. Still rocking that Blessing of Sanctuary as suggested. Then of course we have Blessing of Kings and Devotion Aura. Really nothing too crazy. I mean, the mana from Sanctuary is really good. Blessing of Kings is Blessing of Kings. I mean, yeah. And then yeah, I mean, we kind of already talked about all this. Really no changes there. I almost forgot, in the Paladin Tree we did pick up Seal of Vengeance. This is dealing a little damage. It's not doing anything crazy. It's not bad. The whole point is, since we had the extra ability assets, why not pick something up that's going to help generate you know, more threat, that's gonna help maybe heal, help do additional damage. So I wanted to get one of the seals. I've been trying Seal of Vengeance. You could justifiably try regular Seal of Righteousness, or maybe you'll swap out one of the, maybe you swap out Blessing of Sanctuary to try Seal of Wisdom. Maybe you go even more additional healing. It's Seal of Light. There's a few options there. Right now I have Seal of Vengeance just for the increased damage, but you could go other routes with that. In the Mage Tree, we only got Frost Armor. I didn't level it up at all. It's kind of an afterthought at this point, but it's been doing great. I mean, I really don't have any complaints. I would rock with Frost Armor. It's free armor, and it's making us take less attacks. Basically, the time they take to attack is increased by 20% every time they attack us. Let me clarify. It doesn't stack, but it refreshes. So, again, it's good. Hunter, we got Aspect of the Monkey. We also have Aspect Mastery for reduced damage while we're in Aspect of the Monkey. We didn't pick up the improved Aspect of the Monkey. We chose that. We chose to get the increased Shadow Bolt damage. Now, if you're really, really squishy, and we'll do a dungeon in a minute. If you're really squishy and you're having issues just taking damage, you could definitely pick up Aspect of the Monkey. And that would probably help. But we're not having too many of those issues right now. And then we also have Hunter versus Wild. This is just more attack power equal to our total stamina. Really nothing. It's good. Really nothing crazy to think that's good. Of course, we have Barrack Skin, as I kind of alluded to in the Enchants. Now, this is where most of our points are gonna be lying. I've talked about a few of these many a times, so I'm just gonna really quickly try to point out. I don't think really anything has changed since the last video where we got Mangle. I don't remember if we had Leader of the Pack fully upgraded, but we do now. And of course, Survival of the Fittest and Actual Reaction. I mean, pretty much the same stuff from last video. I don't think really any of these needs to be justified. Natural Reaction is giving us all of our rage pretty much. It's our only real way of generating rage, and it's been doing fantastic. Protector of the Pack reduces our physical damage and increases our attack power. Double whammy. We get additional healing from our improved Leader of the Pack. We take less damage for Survival of the Fittest. I mean, it's great. It's great. Survival Instincts has also been proven as well. So before we queue up, I just want to point out one last thing. So this is gonna be the one of the last dungeons we did. This was a regular dungeon, and this was right after we hit level 70. So I did a dungeon, I tested out a quick heroic, and we're gonna do another heroic in a second. But in this normal dungeon, you'll see we were pulling some pretty good DPS. I mean, mainly through the Shadow Bolt, as you kind of expect. Corrupted Paw is gonna be our auto attack, which is interesting. So in case you don't remember, part of this Corrupted Bear form, when we auto attack, our melee attacks deal additional high threat shadow damage, and that's what that Corrupted Paw is. So that is doing wonders as well. Then you have Swipe just being an AoE. Then you had Corruption, funny enough, even after I just said it wasn't doing anything. And then Mangle, your regular auto attack, etc. So over 100k DPS there, which was pretty nice to see. Now, we were not doing that much in the heroic. We were still doing pretty good damage. You see about 900, 800. Keeping in mind, we are very undergeared. So our item level is 80. It is not fantastic. I wish it was higher, but one thing I intentionally avoided this time, normally when I do a lot of the gearing up, I'll do it through the high risk mode and get some Bloodforged gear. I wanted to keep this PvE power as high as I could, so none of this gear is Bloodforged. We do not have any PvP gear. Now that should help us overall in the damage we're expected to deal, because obviously our PvE power being so high, we do just 22% flat increased damage to creatures, which is good. But the issue is, because I wasn't able to do the PvP stuff, the actual item level that we normally could get around 100 fairly easily is lacking. So keep that in mind when we do this heroic. When I did the heroic, the damage I'm showing on screen, we were taking a lot of damage, so it's something to where maybe at a lower item level you'll want to swap out a few talents to maybe reduce some of that. That being said, we're definitely able to tank a heroic at item level 80. So we'll just jump. I'll queue us up for one, and we'll see if we can get one pretty quickly. But again, that's the one thing I really want to stress out right now, is even though when you're watching this clip I'm about to cut to, I may be taking a lot of damage. I think a lot of that is just from my item level. There's still some tweaks that you can make here to take even less damage. I could take the 5 points out of improved Shadow Bolt and then put them in something that's going to make us a little tankier. I could take out the 2 points I just put in Shadow Mastery, same thing. But I think right now it's gonna be good. So we'll give it a shot. Until then, you will see this transition. Now, I said before the cut that I was gonna do heroic. I ended up changing my mind. Some of the heroics are very, very difficult, and as much as I would love to, you know, potentially do something I would regret, it might be better to show in a normal dungeon right now, just while we have a lower item level. I do have faith that this build is gonna do good in heroics. I mean, I was able to do a heroic at this item level, but you know, depending on the skill of the healer, and depending on my you know, my own luck with what dungeon we get, we could still have a difficult time with a really difficult time with certain dungeons. So again, this is a normal in normals. I'm telling you, with the current setup, it almost feels like, why are we even here? You know what I mean? Like, we do such ridiculous everything. We're able to tank extremely well. I mean, obviously right now with these guys stunning, it's a bit annoying, but that is gonna be neither here nor there, I suppose. I was just switching really quick so you can see the damage. Yeah, we're gonna be pulling, and when we remember to use the bash as well, just so much AoE. I mean, there's really no replacing it. I mean, again, just the expected top damage at this point. Oh, just one pet. With the current setup, I did find, and it seems like I was wrong initially. I said that when you enrage, your maul hits multiple targets. When that is happening, you are not able to apply corruption. Same with Mangle, when we use our enchant that allows it to hit multiple people, the bash and thrash. It seems like that's very dependent on your spell hit rating. So if you have a high enough hit rating, then you're going to be able to apply that corruption. So you see, in that case, I applied corruption to 3 people. So with enough hit rating, it won't be an issue. It won't be an issue to I'm just perma-stunned. It won't be an issue to apply the the corruption as much as you need to. So that's kind of the point where we're at. So again, in these normal dungeons, to where sometimes we'll get a dungeon with a bunch of level 61s, we're not going to have any trouble applying corruption. Like right now, it's gonna be just every hit we should apply corruption, pretty much. And then as you see, I can pull this whole room and not run into any issues. It's just how we do. I gotta be honest, just how we do. Now, what I was also considering, and I kind of have to focus on multiple things because just the rotation on this is very easy. We just did 3k with that shadow bolt, so that non-crit, so feeling pretty good. I'm considering getting a shield. Right now we are using we're just using a two-handed weapon, so I'm thinking maybe a shield would actually end up serving us better in terms of down the line when we're trying to get into heroics more and they're gonna start dealing a little more damage. I think the extra armor we're gonna get from that shield is gonna actually add a lot. So if we see any good shields, I may be picking them up. From my experience, you can definitely run this without a shield if you prefer the two-handed weapon. I'm just not sure if you'd run into, I don't want to say a cap, but kind of like a point in time to where you start becoming too squishy if you're not using a shield. Again, in these normal dungeons, it's definitely not an issue. I mean, I could run these normal dungeons all day and just be looking very good. But again, talking about heroics, couldn't speak to that. I will say again, like I said, in the heroic I did earlier, I was very squishy, so I could definitely see a shield coming into use there. But anything past that, I could not speak on. I actually just pull this whole room. I mean, come on. We gotta go. This is gonna be the shortest video yet, just because I will let everyone's. I can't make this dungeon longer. I mean, they're dying too fast. Obviously, another thing to keep in mind, I'm bragging about being top DPS. And in this particular queue, I could be getting, you know, level 58s as well. So there could definitely be an item, an item gap as well, but a level difference between the people in this group and myself. So I'm definitely not on the high horse too much. I'm just happy with how the build turns out. It's really fun. It really lives up to the shadow kind of theme. When I thought this build into existence, I guess not really, so to speak. But just wish you wouldn't get the same dungeon like 5 times back to back when you do a looking for group. I mean, obviously I've been leveling this character and I've gotten this dungeon so many times. That's how I know I can pull the whole group without having any issues. Like, it's almost sad how fast we can do this dungeon. You know what I mean? And yeah, looking at the other people, I'm definitely the highest level. Oh, I got stuns. Still can't do anything about the stuns. They're kind of annoying. But can do stuff about everything else. Okay, stop knocking me up. Stop knocking me up for 5 seconds. Come on. What the heck? Yeah, so and this is another thing that's part of the issue. Doing this dungeon is really stroking my ego. I mean, again, I've done this back to back so many times, and this is how it's like every time. Never wipe. You just steamroll through all the enemies, and then when I did that test heroic, it was like I'm about to die. Like a lot. So again, I think it's just an item level thing, but that's another reason why I got so nervous, because I'm like, I think my ego is just a little too big after this, after the blood furnace on repeat. Because like here we also don't have any aggro issues. Now, is it because these people I'm grouped with are 4 levels lower than me? Probably. But like in the last dungeon, there was someone doing like 300 like 1000 DPS or something, and I could barely hold aggro on that person during the boss fights. So I like this build. I think it will work. I'm getting conflicting results with certain aspects of it, but again, I really think it's an item thing. It's so difficult to tell when you're comparing yourself to other people and other builds, if it's an item level thing, if it's, you know, a stat priority thing. So that in mind, I know 100% if you're doing normals, you can run the fuck out of pretty much any dungeon you do. I have not had issues with any normal dungeon I've done. So again, I think unless you're trying to progress in mythics and progress, you know, to heroics, I couldn't see you having any issue with this. And again, with heroics, I think if this item level, you know, pipes up a little more, then we're gonna be all set. But until then, I think that's gonna be it for the Corrupted Bear build. I'm really happy with how the build turned out. Anyone interested, definitely give it a shot. If you have any questions that I did not address in this video, definitely let me know in the comments, and I'll definitely reply to those. I've tried to be pretty active about checking those. So I mean, until next time, whether it be a new build or a different game, yeah, I think that'll be it. So I'll see you then. And just really quickly, of course, if there's any, you know, if there's any particular build you think would be interesting or any particular game, let me know, and maybe I'll give it a shot. So thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.